Welcome to the Drunk Dietitians podcast, co-hosted by your favorite tipsy registered dietitians, yours truly, Sammy Previtt, co-owner of Dietitians of Palm Valley, and Jenna Warner, owner of Happy, Strong, Healthy. Us dietitian besties can't stand diet culture bullshit and love keeping it real. Our mission is for all humans to believe that they are made for so much more than chasing a smaller body. We are also here to share with you that food can be fun and pleasurable again. Although we're medical professionals, we are human too. We are not afraid to share our deepest secrets and how years of our lives were taken by diet culture. We started this podcast so no human has to feel alone in their journey towards food freedom. So grab your favorite cocktail and join us for our favorite casual happy hour and expect to laugh, cry, learn, and grow. Cheers.
Welcome back, everyone, to Drunk Dietitians. Today, Sam and I had the pleasure of interviewing Miss Andrea, or Andy Mathis, owner of Beautiful Eats and Things, and also Little Eats and Things, which we dive really deep into the difference between those two brands today in this episode. Andy is a registered dietitian and 100% entrepreneur food blogger, which if you browse her Instagram, I mean, the colors, the food just like invites you right in. And we got to talk all about the inspiration behind that and her brands all today.
Yeah. And it was super impressive to see, like, with her branding, she has two, like, I don't want to say completely separate, because of course they're both related to food, but the one she explains as Beautiful Eats and Things, her grown and sexy brand. And then her other one, Little Eats and Things, is more tips for moms and toddler nutrition and kind of helping mothers or parents in general with picky eaters. So, amidst all of that, she was wearing her shirt that is also on her store, like her online store, that said like Curvy, check, proud, check, registered dietitian, check. And I feel like that just so like eloquently explains Andy and all that she's about.
Yeah, and her TikTok video that has gone mega viral, which I feel like is a theme with our guests recently. Like, we have so many TikTok famous people on here. It's amazing. But Andy has a viral video that really explains that. Like, yes, I'm curvy. Yes, I'm a dietitian. And it continues on, and it's really awesome. And it's just amazing to see, how she just shares her passion and love, and she's just awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like we won't give it too much away, but I feel like we also like put something in the universe with her today that like maybe we'll see coming from her. We don't know, but I think just hearing her story today, I think there is a lot inside of her that could be a gift that she could give to so many if she continues to share her story like she did with us today.
Well, you guys enjoy this episode. We're super excited to share it. And now I'm going to have a snack with the foods that we talked about in this episode today, because she made it all sound so good. So can't wait to hear what you guys think, and enjoy.
Welcome back to another episode of Drunk Dietitians. Today we have the honor of interviewing Andy, or Andrea, but goes mostly by Andy Mathis, who is a registered dietitian. She is the creator of Beautiful Eats and Things and the owner of Little Eats and Things. So thank you, Andy, so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's impossible not to smile in your presence. You just ooze so much positivity.
Thank you.
When we share this bits of the recording, everyone will see like how wide our smiles really are in this.
Yeah.
Yes. And before, I definitely want to just hand over the mic and allow you to introduce yourself, but I just want to give our following a little bit of a background of kind of why we reached out to you. And so I had like, before we hopped on this interview, I like scripted a little timeline, because I was like, okay, because I know we booked this a while ago. So I was like, okay, I came across your TikTok first, which again, your Instagram, your TikTok blow us away. But my business partner had sent me one of your TikToks. It was specifically, I think it was like one of your first like 5 you created. on
Found
May
it.
1st, and it has over 600,000 views at this point.
Yeah.
And it talks about some of the lines in it were like, I've never seen a Black dietitian before. Yeah. RDs come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. And I was like, I need to talk to her. Like we have to talk to her.
Yeah.
And I was like, because back on episode 1, we were talking about how, and now we have those stats of, I think it's like 2.6 dietitians are Black, and how no one's talking about, sorry. Thank you. How it's just very under talked about. So of course we set this interview up with you, but you know, in the midst of all of this, something so much bigger has gone on in the world. And of course, on May 25th, George Floyd lost his life to, you know, police brutality. And so we know that this conversation can go so many ways, and we just want to first thank you for being here. And of course, before we dive into that, I want you to introduce yourself, but I just kind of wanted to set the stage of like, we wanted to talk about this before, and now more than ever, our ears and our hearts and our eyes are open to hand you the mic and hear whatever you want to share with us.
Sure. Well, a little background information. You know, I'm Andrea Mathis. Most people call me Andy. And I am from Birmingham, Alabama, born and raised, still live here. And I have 2 boys, you know, ages 3 and 5. So I'm a mom, I'm a wife, trying to run the blog. So my schedule's really busy. So, you know, I'm always, you know, trying to find that balance. But before I started the blogs, I worked as a dietitian, like a clinical dietitian, and also long-term care dietitian for a little bit over 8 years. So I was in that field and trying to start the blog at the same time, which was really stressful. But as the blog kind of started to grow, that's when I felt a little bit comfortable leaving my full-time job, and I started focusing on this full-time. So it was a scary decision, but it was definitely worth it. But yeah, that's kind of the background information, what kind of led me to the blogging space.
What led you, if you don't mind me asking, like what led you to the field of dietetics? Because I feel like every dietitian has such a different story about how they were drawn in or what made them. Most of us didn't know the dietetic internship ever existed until we had to apply to it.
That's
So like what led you to say like I'm passionate about nutrition or dietetics? So where did that all start for you?
Well, like it started in high school. Like, you know, I've always been curvy girl, fit girl, you know, so like I've tried so many different diets and everything. So I was interested in that aspect of it, you know. And then my home ec teacher, she was a dietitian, and so she was talking to me about, you know, her profession and kind of like what you know, she did and everything, and how she went about becoming a dietitian. So I became really interested in that, and that's what led me to kind of research the career a little bit more. But like honestly, at first I thought dietitian was okay, so you tell people how to go on diets, you know, like that's what the career is about. And, you know, so I was like, this will be perfect for me. You know, I can learn about diets, learn how I can go on a diet, teach other people how to go on a diet, you know. So that's how it started. But I'm so glad that I researched it to learn that it's way more than that, you know, so.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I will say some dietitians still are putting people on diets. I think we need to, you know, I think we need to call a spade and put that out there. I'm sure maybe you've worked with a client or someone who said like, you know, I've seen a dietitian before and it kind of turned me off. And then they find some other dietitians that maybe have more of a peaceful relationship with food and body. And so just clarifying that for anyone listening, that if they've ever met with a dietitian that put them on a diet, us 3 are sorry on that behalf.
Sorry.
I'm like, let me apologize on behalf of my profession.
Absolutely.
And Andrea, so are you in private practice as well, or fully 100% food blogger?
It's fully food blogger right now.
I love that.
And I wasn't thinking about private practice or like seeing clients, but lately I've been getting so many requests for that. And it's surprisingly like, it's not for, oh, I need to be put on a diet or can I have like a meal plan? It's well, can you help me with my relationship with food? And I was like, wow, you know, it's so many people that need, you know, that type of help and education. So I've been thinking about that, not really sure, but
Do
Who
it.
knows? Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. We're putting it in the universe right now. Well, I think
I was just going to say, I think it's probably because you exude so much positivity as
Thank
it
you.
connects to food on your page. Like you make all of these recipes that I'm staring at on all your platforms right now, just like look so appealing that
Thank you.
I think there's a lot of people that don't connect to food as it being happy, and trying to connect with people that's their message is everything.
Yes. Yeah.
I would say that's exactly what I was going to say, Jenna. And then I think the second part of that too comes into this entire body positive like movement that you are a part of and you're leading. And I think people look at you and say, she's curvy, she's happy, she's healthy. I want that. Like, and like Jenna said, you exude that not only with food, but your relationship with your body as well. And so kind of shifting into that conversation, like when you shared that TikTok video that says like, I'm Black, I'm a dietitian, I'm curvy, doesn't matter your color or shape. Like, did you expect it to have like to go viral and for people to positively respond?
It's still growing.
It is. And like, what was funny is that I made the video and I was really hesitant about posting it because I was like, I don't want to offend anybody, you know, so I kept it in my drafts for like a really long time. And I was like, I'm not going to post this. I don't want any negative feedback from it because, you know, I'm not about negativity. So I held on to it for a while and then I just put it out there. I was like, you know what? It needs to be, you know, seen. So I put it out there and surprisingly, I got a lot of views and positive comments from that. So
can I ask you a silly question?
Sure.
What does your husband think about watching you do TikToks? Because mine will walk in the background and be like, seriously?
Like my husband, he hates it. Like he will cringe every time I do like a dance or a video. He was like, are you really going to post that? Like he said, do you know what you look like? And I'm like, and he's not trying to be mean, but he's like, okay, you look a little awkward doing that dance. And I'm like, okay, I don't care, you know, like I'm just posting it because I'm just having fun. I don't care, you know, that I look silly. But yeah, he's like covering his eyes, like, don't post that.
That's exactly the same over here.
Same. My husband gets like angry at me and I'm like, you don't understand. You don't even have a TikTok. Like you don't get it. So just stay away from my TikTok. But so, you know, we just want to create a safe space too, if and invite you into this space if you're open to talk about like since you've posted that and now with everything that's going on in the world, like have people been reaching out to you after seeing that with, you know, just what's going on? Like how has that impacted it?
Well, I've had a few dietitians that have reached out and, you know, just kind of, I guess, co-signed the message and was like, yeah, you know, I'm with you, I agree. But mostly it's just been, you know, just the average, like my following, my readers, like just reaching out and saying, like, you know, honestly, I didn't know that a Black dietitian existed. Like I've never seen that in my area. I've never seen a dietitian that, you know, was my same size. So I'm getting a lot of that feedback. And, you know, I wasn't offended by it. I'm like, well, yeah, you know, typically you don't see a Black dietitian. You don't see one that looks like me, you know, on the regular. So I was like, yeah, you know, that's why I'm trying to kind of change that, hopefully, you know, kind of put myself out there so people can see, you know, that we come in different shapes, different sizes, different colors, you know, so it's been positive, a lot of positive feedback.
That's awesome.
So good. And I love your post today. So today is June 12th, about just fitness. First of all, I love that shirt.
Yeah,
but
thank you.
Talk us through, you say on here you love hula hooping and doing virtual workout classes like before it was trendy. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
Well, like, I like, it's one girl that I like to watch. She was doing the yoga classes. I think her name was Mandy. So she was doing a few of those yoga classes on Instagram. So I really like that. I bought a hula hoop because I used to know how to hula hoop pretty good. But I bought it and I'm like, I don't know what happened. Like, I can't keep it up. So like, I'm trying to like YouTube some videos like, okay, I need to get back into this because I was like pretty good. And so, I'm like, what happened? So yeah, so anything that keeps me moving, but you know, like I can also have fun I'm all about it.
I love it.
that joyful movement, or that
Yeah.
idea of like actually enjoying the movement that we engage in is so special.
Yeah.
For sure.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Jen and I are like looking at each other. I'm like, I'm going to ask a question. You're going to ask a question. Jenna, you go first.
I was just going to ask, so can you talk to us about the inspiration behind your food? Because I see just so many different types of food. Again, I'm obsessed with the colors, but there's just so much different variety on here. A lot of culture comes through, and just, again, it exudes happiness, which is seriously just inspiring and beautiful. And I think why more people want to be working with you is very clear. But there's so many different fun combinations. So can you talk to us about where you get the inspiration for what you're sharing, and really what it means to you to share this work with your audience?
Yeah, so a lot of it, of course, is like Southern inspired, food. So, and of course, like, most Southern food is a little bit decadent, it's, a little bit rich. So I try my best to find like healthier versions, or try to make healthier versions of these dishes, and, kind of put my spin on it. And so I try to make them easy, because I'm like, if I don't have a lot of time in the kitchen, maybe someone else doesn't have a lot of time in the kitchen. So they're usually, fairly easy, really simple. And most of them, are nutritious. I do have some recipes, like especially around the holidays, that may, be a little bit more rich, but I also try to say that it's all about balance. You can still put in some of those foods and it's okay. So yeah, just kind of get inspired by my Southern background.
I love it. The Southern flair. So how have you, because we have the beautiful Eats and Things account, and then I've seen like this little Eats and Things. So which one came first? And like, was that inspired? Like, did one inspire the other? And how did that come to be?
Yeah, I started with Beautiful Eats and Things first. And then, so, I have kids, so I wanted to also post like stuff, like that's helpful for parents, teachers. But I kind of felt that I had two different audiences. Like, I didn't want to load up the Beautiful Eats and Things page, like with toddler plates and stuff, but I was also like giving cocktail recipes. Like, I just felt like it didn't kind of like go that well. So I wanted to create a different space where I can just put all the kid-friendly stuff over there, the activities, the crafts, the recipes, and keep kind of Beautiful Eats and Things like for that grown and sexy vibe, like.
I love that.
So wait, though, can you be honest and tell us, do your kids like healthy foods, or do they give you troubles? Because they look
what?
Eating all of these healthy foods.
they like both. It's like and it's crazy because like sometimes, like if I buy some cookies, like I bought some apples, and we also have some Oreos in the cabinet. So, but they were asking for apples. Like they'll be like, no, we want some apples. Can you please, like chop it up for us? So yeah, it's both for them, which I love, so like they know that, okay, I can have banana, I can also have a cookie, it's just, they balance it out.
It sounds like they're naturally intuitive eaters.
I know, exactly. They really are.
It makes sense because coming, you're their mother, and you're like you said, you're exuding that balance with them, and having everything in the house and no restrictions. So I would love to hear from you, because we have all different kinds of listeners. So if we're talking about Little Eats and Things right now, like when you think about that brand that you've created, like what are a lot of the questions you get with, if it's mothers or fathers or parents reaching out for toddler, like nutrition tips or eating tips or exposure to different foods? What are some of the main themes or questions you get on there?
I would probably say the most common one is like about the picky eaters, about like how can I get my child to try like different foods, and because they'll be stuck kind of on this one meal that they want every day. And I completely get it, because my kids can be the same way. And I always suggest to pair those like familiar foods, prepare those, comforting foods with something different. Like my kids love grilled cheese sandwiches. So I started putting spinach in the grilled cheese sandwiches. And, of course, they were like, okay, it's something green in my sandwich, but they still ate it because the taste was still really good, something that they were familiar with. So I just always recommend to pair, those two things, and it usually works. So it's kind of my tip on that.
That's such a
Yeah.
great tip.
Thank
I had a
you.
client ask me recently, like, well, what if I'm just not meant to be an intuitive eater? And I said, I'm like, but we're all born intuitive
Yeah.
eaters. Like, do you ever watch a kid eat when they're not
Mhm.
hungry? They stop,
Yes, it
right?
is
Or when
so
they're
true.
hungry, they ask for food,
They do.
which is just like, it's so beautiful to hear you connect that with how you
Mhm.
add in both of those foods and types
Yes.
of foods in your home.
Mhm.
It's also really clear on your kids' smiling faces in the pictures that they're very happy with the foods that
Yeah.
they're eating.
Yeah. They are. They
What
are.
are their names?
Caden is my youngest. He's 3, and then Christopher Jr., but we call him CJ. He's 5 years old.
They're so cute.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have you noticed, like, with your own children and your experience as a dietitian and running that account, like, do you notice big differences between their eating habits, or are they pretty similar eaters, or any like kind of reflection on their relationships with food?
I've noticed because like I'm really big on not like trying to label like the foods good and bad, like, oh, this is bad for you. You can't have this right now. So I've really tried hard to get that for them to understand that. And so like I've noticed that, they just ask for what they want. And I like that. It's like whether it's, oh, can I have some broccoli? Or my youngest calls them trees. He thinks they're trees. So he'll say, well, can I have like some of the little trees? And or sometimes he'll ask for, well, can I have some gummies? And I like that. I'm liking how they are not saying, well, this is bad, we can't have this because it'll make us fat. I don't want any of that talk in my house. So yeah, so I'm loving the relationship they have with food right now.
That's awesome.
Hmm.
That's awesome. If you don't mind us asking too, like a more personal question, has your
Sure.
relationship with food always been this positive, like effortless,
Hmm.
peaceful relationship?
Oh no.
Same. If you listen to episode 1, we are the same. But most dietitians, I feel like, walk
I
that path. I'm
know.
interested to hear.
Yeah, not at all. Like my relationship, like I said, I've always, been heavier than, my sisters, than, my classmates. So I've always been trying to like limit, the amount of food that I eat. I've always tried to be really strict and not eat too much so that either I can lose weight or maintain. So like throughout my whole, growing up, like even since elementary school, like I was always watching what I was eating because I didn't want to gain weight or didn't want to, end up being like too heavy. So I had a very unhealthy relationship with food growing up. And so I feel like that's what led me to become a dietitian, which wasn't good, but now it is a good thing. But, that's what kind of led me towards that way because I thought, okay, well, it can help me even more, kind of restrict some things and, I can lose weight. But yeah, it's been a struggle. So I feel like now in my older age, I have a positive and healthy relationship with food. So yeah, it just took a while to get there.
It's
Yeah.
Sammy's story from our first episode is very similar to yours as Sam, right? Like why you wanted to become a dietitian.
I
And
wanted to find the magic answer.
right.
Yeah,
Just
that's
tell me
exactly
what
right.
to do.
Yeah, that's
And
exactly
then I
right.
found out there was no answer
Yeah.
for diet or pill or
Uh,
anything that goes along with that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a long road with that. I'm glad I am where I am now, but before it was just a struggle, and I really try to keep that a secret. And and it's like no one would ever question it because of my size. And I think I talked about that in one of my blog posts, like especially like with Black women, you know, we don't usually get questioned or asked, if we have like a problem with food, or if we're okay, or if we have an eating disorder. Those questions don't really pertain to us. And I feel like more people should be aware of those things. If you see someone, no matter what their size, they could be, whatever weight or whatever, but if you see that their eating patterns are off, you see, you should still be concerned. And I feel like, yeah, I grew up the whole time with no one even questioning it because I was never slim,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. That, like, looking at whether it be like orthorexia, like that
Yeah.
obsession with food and
Mm-hmm.
being healthy, right? Or I'm using
Yeah.
air quotes for
Heavy air
people.
quotes.
Yeah, heavy air quotes on that
Yeah.
word
Mhm.
for people
Yeah.
listening. But
Mhm.
so I think, I would love to hear too, for me, like I thought
Mhm.
going into dietetics, right, I was going to get that magic answer.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think a lot of our schooling is like teaching dietitians how to restrict people, how to, cut calories or limit portion sizes or
Yeah.
so for you throughout becoming a dietitian and
Mhm.
entering this field, like what were some of the resources or how have you gotten to where you are today?
Um, I mean, it's not bad to say, but like through like my undergraduate studies and internship, um, that didn't really contribute to where I am today. It was more so like just a personal experience. It was more so just having to get to know myself and find out what makes me happy. And it was that because throughout my undergraduate and internship, I honestly questioned whether or not I wanted to continue to be a dietitian because of some of the experiences and things that I went through. It wasn't as positive as I had hoped. And so that's why I'm like, well, it didn't really kind of help towards the positive journey, and I hate that, and I feel like some people are still probably going through that struggle today, so which isn't that great.
Absolutely. And I think, thank you for sharing all of this. And
Yeah.
I think bringing awareness to it is so
Mm-hmm.
important. And that's where, like, with intuitive eating and the health at every size movement and offering, like you said,
Yeah.
fair healthcare, like questioning, how are
Mm-hmm.
you doing? Or like,
Yes.
paying attention to behaviors
Mm-hmm.
regardless of the size of someone's body or the color of their skin. Like,
Yeah.
that's what the world needs more of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Exactly.
yeah, so bringing that awareness is so important.
Mm-hmm. It is, and that's why I wrote a blog post about that. Maybe last year, kind of talking about, that and just kind of taking away like from that physical appearance, like don't look at, don't judge someone by their size, don't judge someone by their color, just, look at them and just, observe some of their eating patterns or, just do that observation to see if they're okay. I just feel like sometimes that outward appearance can really cause us to kind of make a judgment, and it's not great because I feel like the people don't get the help that they really need because they're being judged.
It's the
Mhm.
saddest thing of what, like, that makes me think of what you just said, is that it really
Mhm.
starts in our healthcare system.
Yeah, yeah,
Right? Like this,
yeah,
it's general people having those opinions is one level of bad, but
yeah.
we take it further where
Mhm.
there's doctors' offices that have statements about BMI still and
Yeah, exactly.
covering you
Mhm.
in insurance if your BMI is a certain, and I've seen that, like my own in New Jersey.
Yeah,
And there's just so much more work to be done.
yeah.
To bring up like social media celebrities or celebrities in general, but Lizzo
Mhm.
posted something yesterday, I think. Did
I
everyone
saw
see
that.
her video? It like broke
Yes.
the internet. It was the greatest thing she's ever
Yeah.
posted. And for like her, she obviously so eloquently said it, but for those who have not seen it, she posted like a video of all of her workouts in
Mhm.
like a 1 minute, I think is all TikTok gives you, a 1 minute video
Yeah.
of her workouts. And it was like, no, I'm not working out to look like you. Like, stop
Yeah.
asking me that. Like, I'm working out because I enjoy it. And I think that that's like a whole other aspect of this whole conversation that,
Mhm.
preferences and health has nothing to
Yes.
do with our bodies most of the
Mhm.
time. Like,
Yeah.
it is, oh, that was just so great. We should link
Yeah,
that in the show
I
notes.
loved her video. Yeah, I was gonna share that like on my Instagram and do like a duet with her on TikTok because I was like, I love that.
It'll go
Good.
viral because
Yeah.
everything she does
Good.
goes viral. She's amazing.
Yeah, yeah,
And
I
so
love
are
her.
you. But I mean, that message was just so strong, and it's followed up with, she posted something a couple months ago. I actually reposted it on Instagram
Mhm.
where she was talking about her confidence and where it comes from.
Mhm.
Her message is just so pure when it comes to exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, it really is. Yeah. I love how she's kind of bringing awareness to that. People are always talking about what she should look like and always saying, oh, well, she's going to get diabetes I'm like, you can't judge that by looking at her size so it's
Yeah.
crazy.
And it's
Hmm.
just, it's great to see a Black woman in a larger body being a role model to so many.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's like with her positive message and, yeah, exactly what you said with that whole diabetes post. She's like, I'd like to see y'all play the flute like me, or like someone posted that. I was like, I would pass out. First of all, I can't play the flute, so that's not an option. But secondly, like the things that she does on stage and the stamina and all of that, it's just
very talented.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so bringing this back to food.
Okay.
Sorry, I probably got us off track.
I'm so enthralled with it. If there's one tip that you could share with our audience of, wanting to enjoy the flavors, like you were talking about, of Southern food or any food in general, like rich, delicious flavors, and cooking it at home, like what are some tips that you can share from your expertise for us beginners over here?
Well, one of the things that I love to use in my recipes are like fresh herbs. I feel like it brings so much flavor to a recipe. And like I actually have started like growing my own herbs. Like I have a little herb garden, and I just love to just put that in almost any dish. Like I'll find a herb to just add the flavor, whether it's potatoes, chicken, steak, whatever. Even some of my sweet recipes, like I've paired like a few, like I think a lemon and thyme olive oil cake. And that flavor was really good. So I think herbs will definitely kind of elevate that recipe to the next level.
That's awesome. I need to be better about herbs. I need to be better.
Yes. I'm interested, since we kind of chatted about the little eats and things, now bringing it back to beautiful eats and things. And I think the words you used were like the grown and sexy vibe.
Yeah.
Is that right? Is that how you like to, like that?
That's what I'm trying to do.
I love it. So of course, like that tip on herbs is huge. Was there ever, and it's okay if you don't know this off the top of your head, but was there like a post that had a ton of engagement on that social media platform, or anything that you were like, wow, like people really want to see this, or a theme kind of evolving on that page?
Like when I first started, or
just in general that you've noticed kind of a pattern?
I've noticed kind of like my one pot recipes, like the ones that are like those easy recipes. I notice I get more engagement on those, and I'm trying to do more of those recipes, but I think everybody's kind of wanting that simple, easy, quick fix meal solution. So anytime I'm posting those, I see a trend of like I'm getting more saves, more engagement on those posts. So I'm trying to bring more of those your way. So we'll see if I can come up with some more.
I'm obsessed with this frozen waffle sandwich, and I bought frozen waffles 2 days ago, maybe, after stalking your page in preparation for this conversation. I was like, I haven't had those in so long, but made that look with like, I think there's bacon and something else, and like it just looks so good.
Yeah, my kids love frozen waffles, so I have to keep them on hand. But I'm like, well, what else can I do with these waffles? So I'm always thinking of ideas.
That is great. So if you could, and Jenna, I don't know if you noticed this, but we jumped right into this interview and did not.
I have it written down.
We usually do a this or that. So I have an additional question that I want to ask. So we're going to flip-flop it with you.
Okay.
We were just too excited and got right into it. So Jenna, you start with this or that. I'm going to end on a different question, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Ready? This is like so, and we didn't even cheers. Like, what's wrong with us
I
today?
don't even have anything.
Meanwhile, I'm drinking my water because it's so hot here. But, so, okay, off the top of your head, vodka or tequila?
Vodka.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Wine or beer?
Wine.
It's wine season. But where you are, it's hot all the time, right? It's wine season all the time.
Yeah, wine season. Morning, noon, night.
So being that we've been in quarantine for quite some time now, this question might be a little bit more complicated, but do you prefer a Netflix and chill night or a night out on the town?
Netflix and chill, because sometimes those heels make my feet hurt. So I just want to stay at home.
Cooking or baking?
Cooking.
I love that. Baking is
Mm-hmm.
way too complicated for me personally.
Yeah, I'm not the best baker, so.
And one more, runny yolk or hard-boiled egg?
Probably a hard-boiled egg. I'm getting into the runny yolk. I'm getting into it.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
It still scares me. Still scares me, but I'll get there. I'll get there.
And then if you could have one thing in limitless quantities that's not money, what would it be?
Chocolate.
I love that answer.
Oh yeah, that's a great answer.
Yeah.
I'm in the mood for like a chocolate covered waffle right now.
Yeah,
After this conversation.
It makes me happy.
Same.
Perfect. So I feel like the question that I had in my mind, Jen, is similar to that one, but a little different. If you could only, now I know this is going to be hard for you, if you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, so it could be the whole meal, it could be like maybe a type of cuisine, like what would that meal be?
Chicken fried rice.
I
love
really
that.
Right now too.
Yeah, I can eat it all day, every day. Fried rice, just like, I've learned how to make it at home. So yeah.
Any secret ingredients that we should be adding into our chicken fried rice?
Well, you know that you're supposed to use, is it like a day old rice? Like you're not supposed to use freshly cooked rice because it'll start to get mushy in the pan. So like it's supposed to be rice that's maybe set in the fridge for maybe like a day or so.
Ooh,
that makes sense because anytime I've done it in a wok, it is mushy. So now I know why. Okay, I need to definitely get on your blog and look over a lot of different tips right now.
Well,
oh gosh.
Andy, thank you so much for just sharing your
you.
smile and your amazing information and energy with us today. For everybody listening, I know there will be so many listeners to this episode. Where is the best way to connect with you and find you and just absorb all of your amazing content?
Okay, well, my website, beautifuleatsandthings.com, and you can also find me on Instagram, Beautiful Eats and Things, Facebook, Beautiful Eats and Things. On Twitter, it's Beautiful ENT, and then I'm also on Pinterest. I think that one, I can't think of that one because that one's a different one too. I think it's, it may be Beautiful ENT on Pinterest as well. Then TikTok is Beautiful Eats and Things, and then with the Little Eats and Things page, everything is Little Eats and Things on Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, everything like that.
Awesome.
There's so many platforms in the world.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep up, and it is hard.
I was going to say, that's so impressive that you had like all of those lists that I'm like, I only know like my Instagram handle and I forget everything else.
Yeah, it's hard.
That's awesome.
I don't know my passwords to all of those is what that made me think of.
Yeah,
yes.
I forget.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your energy, your information, and for all that you do for all of us. I mean, I can't wait to dive into these recipes even more.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for having me. So it was really fun chatting with you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you so much for listening and being here with us. I am virtually cheersing all of you. We absolutely loved sipping on a cocktail with you and sharing as many nutrition tipsies as possible during this episode. We know there are a ton of pods out there, and we are so appreciative of your time that you spent listening to us today. Please be sure to check out the show notes for episode details and all of our guest information. We promise to keep bringing you the best and the most knowledgeable and fun guests we possibly can. Please be sure to subscribe, like, share, and post if you enjoyed our content today. And visit us on Instagram and Facebook at Drunk Dietitians to find out what is up next for us on the pod. We absolutely love you. We appreciate you and can't wait to spend more time cheersing with you soon.